Welcome to the Digital Drop Podcast, where we help you take control of your digital strategy so you can do what you love for a living. And today, I've got one of my best friends in the whole world on the podcast.
Aww,
and we're going to
Muffin.
I love you. I love you, Muffin. Muffin. That's very British to be like, hello, Muffin.
Hello, Muffin.
Hello.
The British viewers are gonna hate this, that we're just doing like shitty British accents.
We have British viewers?
And you might down the line, who knows? You know? You gotta diversify your audience, you know?
I hope we do.
Go from English speaking to English speaking.
We love you, UK audience. Be sure to subscribe. This is all about how to become an international celebrity with Jeff Feng. I never thought this kid would be making it. We're going to talk all about Jeff Feng and his insane adventures across the world, becoming a celebrity in countries everywhere. But before we get into it, my name is Andrew Awall. I'm a digital marketing consultant, and I'm joined by my co-host, Andrew Perrin, social media and advertising specialist. Buddy, how are you?
I'm great. I'm back.
He's back and he's alive. Jeff Feng. All right, let's go through the credentials here. This is going to be
here we go.
extensive. He's an online media entrepreneur. Jeff and I were founding members of TGN together. If you guys have heard me talk about it endlessly, the largest gaming video network in the world.
In the world. Sorry,
he's OG with me.
Color.
Yeah,
I'm adding some color to this, in the world.
Thank you. Yeah. And we've known each other now for it's about 8 years. Been working with each other really for 8 years, and through our work, we kind of become close friends along the way. The same thing is the case with Andrew Perrin as well. Also, Jeff is a content creator and a Brazilian influencer.
Question mark?
You can't see him, but he's a Chinese guy who's Canadian or who's in Canada, and we'll talk about that later. But here's some of the crazy things Jeff has done over the years that you guys should know about. Ever heard of Pokemon Go, the mobile game? Obviously. And he was a global ambassador for that game, and there was this global ad that was a multi-million-dollar production that was seen by tens of millions of people on TV and YouTube. Jeff was one of the faces in that campaign. He's also a part of a Pokemon Go series where he did a collaboration with others. Over 150 million views on that series, 70 episodes, 2 million views a pop. Pretty insanely successful. Saying wow to I thought that was Jeff saying wow to himself.
No, I didn't. I didn't say wow to myself. I'm just letting you talk right now, man.
I'm just sitting here being impressed by the numbers. So I'll just sit here and continue to be impressed.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. And on his own YouTube channel, which he started in 2010, he's got 296K subs. Pretty awesome. 400K views per video on average recently, which is amazing. Your Instagram account, befuddlingly, has 152K followers. People love to see pictures of you in your life and just your everyday stuff. 20K likes per post on average. Why do people like Jeff Feng so much?
I haven't even shown my butt yet. That's the beauty of all this.
Yeah,
is that I haven't shown my butt on Instagram yet. But once I start showing butt and doing workout videos, it'll be like, you just add a 10-time multiplier to everything that you do.
You're keeping that in your back pocket.
That's a back pocket. That's when I become. That's when I need to become like when I need to stay relevant. I'm saving that. I'm saving that card.
Literally in his back pocket. Twitter account with over 100K followers. And it's hard to get engagements on Twitter these days. But when Jeff posts about himself or something that includes a picture of him, 800 engagements on every post, likes for days. This kid's got influence. So let's talk to him about his secrets across all of these platforms, how he got to do all these amazing things so that you guys can learn how to become an international celebrity, or at least get to know some interesting tactics and stories about Jeff Feng's story. So I start out every creator interview with the same question. Why did you start talking to your computer in a dark room and putting it on the internet?
So prior to the whole TGN shebang that we were jumping into, I was a World of Warcraft content creator. So there was a little movie site called Warcraft Movies prior to YouTube being the gaming hub for everything World of Warcraft. I just became really obsessed with the game. I actually played this so much that I ended up dropping out of pre-med and switching my major because I was just couldn't keep up with the studying, and I loved Warcraft so much. And that actually worked out pretty nicely because of the success I had on that site. I was approached by some of the originals of TGN, and I became one of its founders. The reasoning behind really just making content first was I felt like a lot of the videos I watched online were not like as entertaining. Everyone was taking themselves too seriously. So the montages and Warcraft movies I made were more silly and used unconventional ways of entertaining people while also demonstrating skills. I think the reasoning behind it was I just had such a love for the content creation. I just wanted to see at least, even back in the day when you had that one person comment, it was addicting to get some input from another human being about how good or how bad you are. And that's where the start happened. And I never imagined having, like literally thousands of comments as opposed to one or two compared to back in the day.
That's amazing. So much was going on with World of Warcraft back then, and I guess we kind of all ended up somewhat meeting due to it. I guess TGN was partially founded due to a World of Warcraft channel there, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
a lot of us kind of met through that area. But what I've really got to know is how does a Chinese guy located in Canada become a huge celebrity in Brazil? Like, how does that all add up?
So that's $1 million question. So this comes when Pokemon Go first came out. I'm usually get really obsessive when I'm really into a game. Pokemon Go was one of those games where it combined part of my childhood with like this need for me to be outside because I felt like, I need to lose a little weight. So for the first, couple of weeks, I walked a total of maybe 10 to 20 kilometers. Let's go with freedom metrics, 8 to 16 miles. Let's just say roughly around there. Every single day, that's how much I played. And I got really, really good at it. I hit 40, before almost anybody else in Vancouver. And while I was doing all this through BBTV, where I work, one of the people who are managing Brazilian influencers told me, hey, one of our influencers who's in Vancouver, he's starting Pokemon Go as a video source. He's doing pretty well. His first few episodes got a couple million views. He needs a little bit more expertise because he doesn't have that much time to play. Do you want to be in a video? I was like, okay, I'll jump in a video. And right there, just because of the fact that I became like pretty entertaining in that first episode, I got brought back starting from like episode 20, almost every single episode of that series that we talked about earlier in the podcast. And I just became a part of the staple within that particular show, which was in Portuguese and meant for a Brazilian audience. Now, through that experience, I grew my own audience. I did a mini series on my own channel. Then I started kind of building off of my own destinations. I'm still a regular on Coisa de Nerd, which is the channel that I collaborated with, as well as their vlog channel, Cadeia Chave. So both of these channels, I'm a regular character on it. We do a lot of things together. And, I kind of show them a little bit of Vancouver in exchange. They give me a little bit of promotion as well, which all works out very nicely. Until basically recently, I kind of shifted into more culinary and the audience became a little bit different. The beauty of being located in Canada is that it's crazy multicultural, and it's very easy to become friends with somebody who came from a different part of the world. And then content creation, sometimes, it starts in friendship. And I didn't realize how big of a deal it was until I went to Brazil Game Show. So if you ever want to feel like you're part of and Brazilian fans are absolutely the best. They're crazy obsessive and they're all over you, which is crazy. Like I had an instance where I'm at this Brazilian version of PAX and I was trying to grab a little bit of food. It was like about like 50 to 100 feet from where the BBTV booth was. And it took me 40 minutes to get back just because everybody was approaching, asking for a picture, wanted to talk to me. I don't even have that big of a presence on YouTube, but just because of the Pokemon Go thing, just because of my regular appearances in other, not just my friends in Vancouver, but in other Brazilian YouTubers, they remember you. And this is the crazy thing about having a loyal audience is that if you get remembered, they treat you more seriously. And when they see you, you're not just a YouTuber, you're an actual celebrity. Which is more than I can ever ask for from the content I was making.
I think you and I know each other professionally, maybe better than anybody in our lives. And you create content. Everybody knows you as this influencer and entertaining guy. But in your professional life, you've had a lot of accomplishments as well as an entrepreneur. And as an executive assistant to a high-profile CEO, Sharzad Rafati, and now you're a business development manager with Broadband TV, the company we've both worked for a long time. How do you do all this Pokemon Go stuff and content creation and collaboration and all this social media management and being this entertaining guy on top of all this very serious career aspirations you've been chasing over the years?
And I don't want to jump into maybe like too much of the grains, but recently I think I've optimized this a lot better. And it's just because I feel like the mental state of a content creator is the number one asset. Your content, your creativity, you need to stick to your guns, but to have the best judgment that you can have, you need to make sure that you're in a great mental state. And like you said, I was a executive assistant to Sharzad Rafati. She's basically my mentor. I decided to, and the only reason I took that role as opposed to starting something new myself was I wanted to learn from someone who's been through the ringer, who's solicited investment, just to take the entrepreneurship to a different level. Not to be too preachy and Tony Robbins about this, but there is a saying from a Chinese entrepreneur, Jack Ma. He's the guy who founded Alibaba. Is that in the 20s, you want to find a good boss to teach you everything that you need to know. In the 30s, you want to find out what your specialization is, what you're really good at, ultimately. In the 40s is when you're going to really see success with your entrepreneurship. And I kind of stick to those, although obviously the timeline varies with different people, right? Some people can start earlier, some people can start later. And I prioritize learning and being realistic with my time management. So given the fact that I spend 8 to 12 hours a day on any given days for work, that leaves, if you want to sleep 7 hours, right? It gives you 9 hours max at that point to do whatever you want, right? So it's important to make time for your significant other and a family. It's important to make sure that you're physically fit. So go for a workout, go for a jog, go for a walk, go play some Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go to the polls. After that, you have about 2-3 hours maybe to be creative. So now what can you do in that part? Well, you gotta know how frequent should you post. And how frequently does your audience expect you? In many cases, some people post too much. They want to be regular every single day. That's their best way to grow. But in many ways, you also dilute yourself, and also you spread yourself too thin. So, for example, on Instagram, I know that at best I can post once a week at a really good picture, something relevant to my life and I'm comfortable with. So I don't think too much about that. I don't spend too much time on Instagram, right? Throughout the week, if I have an idea, I'll jot it down, and then if it works with my life, I take a picture, post it on, and the algorithm likes it like that way. I'm not spamming the algorithm. The audience isn't seeing too much of me where they get sick of me, and everything I post is somewhat interesting. Now with YouTube, I realized that I can participate in videos and collaborate at least once a week, which I try to make sure that I'm at least in one video somewhere in the market if I can't make it myself. And then if you're managing your time, sometimes I will optimize by like getting an external editor from a different part of the world, right? Still trying to pay them a very nice valid wage, but at the same time, it would be a lot cheaper than hiring a permanent editor domestically. As soon as you figure out the storyboarding and your formats, that literally becomes you sit down for 30 minutes, you upload the content for another 30 minutes, and your editor takes care of the rest. So then you can make more time to do everything else, and make more time to be creative. Knowing what you need to do with the 9 hours that you have, besides if you doing a full-time job, as well as sleeping and taking care of yourself, it's very important. Like obviously you want to make some time for entertainment, but that time management with those every day, if you create a little bit, if you think a little bit about your content creation, you'll have time to do a lot of things, way more than what I have time for.
You've linked some really important things there, and this is starting to be like a topic every time we do these interviews. This comes up, and I really like that it does. And it's a balance of of lifestyle, and you're focusing on physical health, sleep health. And I like what you said about your mental state, like your creator mental state. You have to have a healthy mental state to be able to keep creating. And it sounds like you've put together, kind of a nice balance where like you can stay in that mental state because you're working out, you're eating well, you're sleeping well. And I feel like a lot of creators kind of do make a sacrifice there somewhere, which you have to be careful with. Like there is something you will have to sacrifice at some point to really chase being a creator, but it can make or break you if you're not careful with it and how you balance it. So I like how you stated
Yeah,
that.
with the diet, like it's like, sometimes that's the thing I sacrifice because if I have too much work to do, then I will order like a pizza or whatever, right? But the whole point is, in terms of like balance days, it's not like, oh, you have one bad day, it's all over. You just want to have more good days than bad days. That's like keeping,
Yeah, we
yeah,
can't always be perfect like
exactly.
100% of
Yeah,
the time,
it
right?
can't be
And so
too hard
that's
on yourself. That's when people
yeah.
lose their mental state. It's when they become too hard on themselves. Then they basically put themselves into this loop. It's going to be okay. Like you started this because you believe in yourself. You need to continue to do it because you believe in yourself.
So this is kind of leading me to something that we haven't really talked about. Like we talked about balance on some of the past ones, and it's good to get different creators' perspective on how they balance. But it seems that a lot of your real success has come from your ability to collaborate with other influencers. And this is something that, as someone who works with influencers or tries to help educate them or help them, collaboration, we know it's like a great answer. Like we know collaboration is what propels creators to go blow up really fast, to really take it to the next level. But it's really difficult to either convince creators or to find out or give them direction onto how to do that collaboration. Since you're someone who's been able to do that quite successfully, what would your advice be for other gaming creators out there in terms of collaboration?
I think the number one thing about collaboration is knowing your value and what you bring to the table. I'm just using the example of me collaborating with Cosa de Nudge. Now, Cosa de Nudge is a channel with 8 million subscribers, and their vlog channel has 2 million. So we're talking about 10 million subscribers combined for Leon Martins, this YouTuber from Brazil. So now, if you look at my original stats, I had like 20,000 subscribers at the time when I first met him. So why would he need to collaborate with me, right? Why he doesn't need to. But the whole point is because of I was such an expert in Pokemon Go and I was a local expert, there was a necessity for him to do that. And once you have that necessity, once you start with it, it's all about making a good impression as well as playing nice. The whole point of doing collaboration and to continue to do collaboration with people is that when you're collaborating on someone else's channel, the whole point is not how you can maximize that plug. The whole point is how you can play nice enough and bring enough to the table that you have another you have another chance to collaborate. You have to be able to think about not just the first collaboration. You got to think about continued collaborations. And the reason that I guess people like collaborating in the Brazilian market is because I became a regular on a collaborator with one of the biggest channels. That wouldn't have happened if I thought about a short-term gain. How do I plug myself? How do I get more followers? How do I get more? How do I get more views on my own videos? I didn't even ask to be plugged. He started plugging me automatically. I just thought it was really fun to show people exactly all these different secrets I had in Pokemon Go. And 2 years after doing that, he and I got invited by the actual company making the game to travel to Japan. Like, you don't start a collaboration thinking that you're going to get that last part. You start it because it's fun for you to do and you want to make a friend. And eventually, once you have enough friends, then the collaboration becomes easier. They know your value, they know what you bring to the table, and you want to consistently bring new things and new things to do. So, for some of you guys who are listening, who let's say are gaming YouTubers and you're really good at particular games, know that you're really good at particular games and leverage that for your collaborations. If you're really good at, let's say, design, if you're really good at some certain parts of creative or production, let people leverage those skills for the YouTubers that you want to collaborate with, or you're interested in collaborating with, or are within close distance and proximity to you in real life. Know your value and make sure that you focus on the project, not yourself.
Everybody's trying to cover things like Fortnite and Apex Legends and chasing the new big games. A lot of gaming creators in particular don't know their value and don't know the value of their content. And they think that they're all going to be the next ninja. They're all going to be the best at playing a game or being entertaining. And at the end of the day, that's probably not going to happen for you. So you need to think about bringing other types of value, like teaching people something, like bringing them something unique they've never seen before, bringing them something new that to the table or something that's trending and your take on that, overcoming some sort of challenge along the way. You need to think outside of the box and don't think about doing the exact same thing as everybody else.
I mean, on the topic of sorry to jump. I just want to jump in because you mentioned ninja really quick there. People aspiring to be ninja is like, it's heartwarming, but at the same time, if you look at how fast his views kind of dropped recently, and his influence kind of dropped compared to when he was at his prime, it's not realistic to be like, okay, there's like, I want to be the next big influencer, so on and so forth. There's a lot of people who are consistently getting more views than them, but doing something a little bit more themselves. So like, there's a channel, BCC Trolling. He is a highlight channel. He just does like funny plays that people submit to him, or occasionally he gets the permission from a streamer to use their clips. And this guy was rocking more views than Ninja on YouTube, but he found his niche. He knows he's good at comedy. He's good at making funny montages, and he did it, and he's rocking more than 100 million views a month. So, really knowing what you're really good at, and what you could be a master of, it's extremely important.
You mentioned a moment ago that you don't push yourself to do preposterous amounts of content on all of your avenues: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You post when you're ready, right? And when you have something good. All these different platforms and their algorithms, as everybody knows, and we've talked about endlessly, are becoming less and less tolerant of linking to other platforms, competing platforms. However, there is a way to tie those things together, to tie that content together, that story together, your personality together through your posts on these different platforms. How do you think about that with your Instagram account, your Twitter account, and your YouTube channel? And now I know you're expanding in Twitch as well. How are you integrating those content strategies? How are you cross-promoting, if at all, across those platforms? Is cross-promotion dead? How are you thinking about it?
Cross promotion is not dead. It's just going more into the traditional sense of cross promotion. So it's no longer driving clicks to links. If you actually have a hard look at statistics of people driving clicks to links, it's fairly low. Like when I tweet a video, I get 100 extra views, but I get like a 10,000 impression. Why? Because people are getting smarter in their consumption behaviors. They don't want to be told what to do. Like if you tell them to do something, they're going to do the exact opposite. What you need to do is, if you want to cross promote your content, is you need to generate authentic and organic curiosity about who you are. The way I planned out each of my destinations is that there's something different in each. There's something new that happens in each. There's a little bit extra content in each. So this Valentine's Day last week, I announced that my relationship to my girlfriend Carol, it was more like the face reveal. It's been almost a year. So then like we made a joke originally that, hey, look, no one gets to see her face. She's mysterious, right? And she wants to, she doesn't want to be seen in the video. So eventually we're going to show it to you, but someday you guys have to work for it. We just did it because, I think it was a good time to show it personally for us. And, like, we didn't really like over promote anything. It was a sudden drop. And I did it on two platforms, Instagram and Twitter. It would have been easy for me to set up one of those automated posts from Instagram to Twitter. When you're big enough, you can do that. I know Leon, the guy who I collaborate with, he does that, and no one can really tell him what to do on these because he has over 1 million followers on each of these platforms and lots of followers. So it's out of place to say, hey, look, you're not optimizing this. But if you're a smaller guy, if you're a growing channel and you're a growing establishment, you got to really be careful about these auto links as well as these cross-platform promotions. It could hurt your channel and could hurt you in the algorithm significantly. What you want to do is create separate content on each of these platforms, have it a little bit different. So in the case of what I just did on Valentine's Day, what I wrote on and the pictures I used on Instagram and then on Twitter are a little bit different than each other. There's a little additional content. There's a way to get an additional like if I have the same follower seeing the same thing, seeing the same thing. There's a little bit of need for them to read a little bit more into it, and that creates authentic curiosity. So once you put that, and once you're in the minds of these people, let's just say that you next time they check your Instagram, there's something new. You want, rather than them clicking and spoon feeding them, you want to create enough curiosity about yourself that they're like, oh wait, he posted on Instagram. Something's probably on Twitter. Let me check Twitter by myself. They do that in their own time, and then they don't do that directly off of the Instagram, off the Instagram link. You got the effectiveness of a cross promotion from a platform. You got more curiosity being generated about your character. And at the same time, you didn't hurt yourself in the algorithm because they didn't track you linking off of platform. And this is why I'm saying it's becoming more a traditional sense of being cross-platform. You want to actually be a real triple threat, as opposed to like, oh, I'm doing the same thing on all three platforms. Follow me for the exact same reasons.
Yeah, if you're doing the same thing on all three platforms and everybody knows that, there's no curiosity as to what's on Twitter. Everybody already knows if they saw Instagram. But you're exactly right about the algorithm. So this is something that I've been studying since I've been doing social media. I've written about it on my LinkedIn. The algorithm for links on almost every platform, you get the lowest priority in terms of algorithm treatment.
Yep.
So that means any other type of post you can make could be better. Like literally a text post on Twitter with no link would be better than any post with a link. And the algorithms are designed to make all of those posts get less reach, less organic traction, less impressions, because it's trying to take users off the platform. And that's not really conducive to, Twitter or the native platform's growth. Yeah. They want to keep people on that platform. That's their goal. So don't fight the algorithm. And I like how you set up, you even use different pictures there for each one to make sure that the people on Twitter are getting something unique and differentiating your content strategy between each platform. That's really, really insanely good advice for anybody approaching a multi-platform strat on social media. If you were to give a new creator only one piece of advice, what would it be?
If the creator is asking about, if they're starting with the first conversation, I want to make money off of this, they're already in the wrong headspace. This has been said by creators in all different genres, that you do it for the art, you don't do it for the money. Right now, like for example, in my case, I have a full-time job. I'm happily compensated in what I'm doing. So the reason I'm doing this is like I really enjoy it. I like it. I'm spending my own money on it, and it's beginning to have a little bit of an ROI, which is nice. It's just like, for example, last month, after paying my editor and covering all the costs of the recipes, I got a little bit extra money, and I was like, oh, should I put this in a bank account? I was like, no, let's have fun with it. I just bought all of it in V-Bucks. I had like 10,000 V-Bucks for Fortnite. So like, that for me is fun. I'm having a lot of fun, and it's like the money was, I found a way to sustain myself without doing that. It's hard to quit your day job. It's really ballsy. It's admirable. And then to try and do it as a living. But if you start from the point of, I have to do this to survive, then you're pigeonholed by the type of content that you want to do. If you're not as authentic, if you don't really focus on what you really want to do, then you hurt your longevity. You hurt your ability to wake up and be enthusiastic about it. The key to good content creation is, if you're into it, your audience will be into it. Confidence sells, and excitement sells. And if you can't be genuinely excited about your content, then you won't be successful. Very, very important for all young content creators to realize that you need to seek the right advice for the hardware, as in for your how you approach each of these platforms. But the very essence of your content is your content. You have to make sure that your content is good. You have to make sure your content is sustainable and something you're passionate about. And at the end of the day, that comes from focusing on the passion and not the money.
My God, everybody has the same piece of advice because it's so freaking true. If you guys want to watch more incredible interviews with incredible people like Jeff Feng on The Digital Drop, you can always follow us on Twitter, of course, at Digital Drop Pod. And if you want to discuss strategies and ask us questions and get the latest updates on industry stuff, you can join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/The Digital Drop. Now, golden question here is, where can people find you on the internet, Jeff Feng?
It's I try to keep my, and here's another piece of advice: keep your branding simple. I used to be called Pure Shield. Who wants to click on that? I use my name because it's 2 syllables and very easy. Jeffy Feng across all platforms. Even YouTube, if you type Jeffy Feng now, you'll find Jeffy Feng, even though I have my vintage URL. I still have that vintage URL that's pure related, but Jeffy Feng across all platforms, you'll find me there.
Andrew Perrin, where can people find you on the internet?
Twitter.com/AstralDigital, ASHRAL, and Facebook.com/AstralDigital.
Right on. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Awall Digital, AWALL Digital, and on Facebook, I'm Awall Gaming, doing some gaming live there.
Not digital? What?
Not digital. I actually did a live stream last night on Facebook Gaming. I got thousands of people to watch me, which was crazy. Still trying to crack that Facebook gaming nut and see if that platform's going to work or not. Did you guys know, and I'm going off on a tangent a little bit right now, but they now have a hosting feature where you can send traffic to other streams and everything now. So Facebook.
Oh, that is new.
Yeah, they're stepping up their game. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this episode of The Digital Drop. Big thanks to Jeff for being on the podcast today. And we'll see you in the next episode. Keep creating, do it for the right reasons. And you started this because you believe in yourself, so you should keep going because you believe in yourself. I may have misquoted you there. Oh, well.
It's pretty nice. That was good. I like it.